Good evening and welcome to tonight's Monroe City Council meeting. This is the regular business meeting for Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. The time right now is 7 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and ask that our clerk, Wyckoff, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members present and establishing a quorum are council members Fulcher, Beaumont, Hanford, Walker, Gamble, Fisher, and Scarborough.
All right, thank you. And before I continue, I just note that council members Walker and Hanford have their hands up. Do you intend to speak at this time? If you could take your hands down, I would appreciate that. What's that? Okay, I just wanted to make certain there wasn't something related to the agenda before I moved on to the next item. So seeing that everything is good, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda. And will everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge my allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, and before I begin today, I'm just going to acknowledge very briefly how much I appreciate all the work that our staff and others have done to put us to this point where we are today. This is our first meeting here in council chambers with the newly renovated facility. And to our council, to our colleagues, to our right, thank you so much for all of the work that you did. When we embarked on this, I explained that it was really important that we proceed with the work to get this, the former building demolished and rebuilt, and the staff and you delivered. And I so greatly appreciate that. So I thank each and every one of you. With that said, tonight we have a full house, which we love. That's great. I want to make certain that everybody here understands that there may be some bumps along the way here, and that's because the technology is new. The council members are going to be putting their hands up in Zoom so that I know that they're putting their hands up. But if all of a sudden you start seeing little orange flags go up, somebody put up an orange flag, it's because the technology was failing and orange flags still work. So with all that said, we're going to go ahead and continue with the meeting. And again, I appreciate everybody's grace as we work through this new space, new technology and everything else. And again, I am eternally thankful for all the work that everybody did to put us where we are today. First item that we have on the agenda then is public comments. This is a time for people to speak to the city council in person on issues related to the city of Monroe, except those issues that are subject to a public hearing. When invited to speak, you're going to approach the podium and then you're going to state your name and association with the city or your area of residence. And then a timer will be started. And so Jody will go ahead and put the timer up on the screen. We'll start the timer and then I ask that you go ahead and pay attention to the timer. We will make certain that at 3 minutes, I will tell you that any further comments can be submitted to us in writing. So it's very important for us to adhere to the 3 minutes, and I don't want to be somebody that has to cut you off. So just for your awareness. Lastly, the podium is right over there. There are wheels. I don't know that the wheels lock, so be careful leaning into the podium. We don't need to have somebody racing across the dais on the first day. So I'm going to go ahead and call on the first person who signed up to speak this evening, and that person is David Toyer. Mr. Toyer, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. David Toyer, Toyer Strategic Advisors, 3705 Colby, Suite 1, Everett, Washington. Our land use and economic development consulting firm is representing the Davises in the annexation that's on your agenda at 10.4 tonight. The 10% meeting is called the meeting with initiators.
And I'm going to go ahead and pause you real quick,
yeah.
David. And so I'm going to turn to staff real quick. Would this be something that would be subject to the public hearing this evening that should be done during the public hearing? Okay. All right, thank you. We'll make certain that I'll allow you to run over 30 seconds. Please go ahead and continue. Okay. Thank you.
I'll be brief. Not sure how you'll manage that part of your agenda tonight when you get to that agenda item, but I did want to let you know I'm available if there are any questions. think it's a pretty simplified annexation. It's of an entire portion of your UGA that was just added by Snohomish County. The Davises have been participating in your comprehensive planning process for well over a year now, and they're part of the docket stuff that you are looking to move forward later this evening in the public hearing. We think that this should work fairly similarly to the Monroe 30 annexation that you just approved, which it would be, process of moving forward the annexation, doing a development agreement related to that annexation, and then accomplishing an interlocal agreement with Snohomish County for this particular interlocal, since you don't have a master interlocal at this time. So we're happy to answer any questions that council members may have, but I think this is a pretty straightforward opportunity to bring this property into the city and to do so consistent with your existing land use policies.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Dwyer. All right. That was the only person that we have signed up. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to the council on any issues related to this of Monroe this evening? All right. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda. And let me flip the page. That item is announcements and presentations. So I've got two proclamations this evening that I'm going to go ahead and read portions of into the record. The first one is recognizing the month of September 2025 is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So whereas cancer remains the leading cause of death by disease among children in the United States, with nearly 15,000 children under the age of 19 diagnosed each year, and whereas approximately 1 in 285 children in the United States will be diagnosed with cancer before their 20th birthday, and 1 in 5 of those diagnosed will not survive. And whereas survivors often face lifelong health issues caused by the harsh treatments used to combat pediatric cancers, including secondary cancers, organ damage, and cognitive impairments. And whereas Julian, a local Monroe resident, was just 9 years old when he was diagnosed with Wilms tumor, a rare childhood kidney cancer. Thanks to immediate intervention, extensive surgery, and chemotherapy, Julian is now 10 years cancer-free. His story is one of resilience, hope, and the power of early detection and support. And whereas childhood cancer affects families in every community and requires increased awareness, funding, and community support to improve outcomes and quality of life for children and families impacted by cancer. And whereas organizations, families, and medical professionals and volunteers at the local and national level are working tirelessly to raise awareness, support research, and provide emotional and practical support to affected families. Now, therefore, I, Jeffrey Thomas, and the City Council of Monroe, Washington, do hereby recognize the month of September 2025 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month and encourage the community to learn more about childhood cancer, remember community members we have lost, and support ongoing efforts toward cures and healing. And Yvonne was the person who brought this to my attention. Yvonne, would you like to come up and speak for up to 3 minutes on this item? Or have somebody that would like to? Okay. Tag, you're it.
Good evening. My name is Carlos Aguirre, and a proud local resident here in Monroe. I just want to say, in a very short period of time, since my wife decided to do something to bring a little bit more awareness, and extremely proud and thankful of the community we live in. We've been able to have an outpouring of support from local businesses that have, reached out and promoted themselves to help bring more awareness and help with any additional funds of raising to, help with research, and other organizations here in our local state that have been able to help people in our community. And we look forward to seeing what more we can do here in September. And thank you all for this proclamation.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and invite the council to come on up in front, and we'll go ahead and present this to you and your group. We'll see if somebody from staff can take a picture, please. So let's go ahead and spread out along the dice. All right, thank you, everybody. The second proclamation we have this evening is recognizing the month of September 2025 is Hydrosyphilis Awareness Month. Whereas hydrosyphilis affects approximately 1 million Americans in every stage of life, from infants to the elderly, and whereas 1 out of every 500 infants is born with hydrosyphilis, making it as common as Down syndrome and more common than spina bifida and brain tumors, and is the most common reason for brain surgery in children. And whereas hydrosyphilis is a condition with no cure, is primarily characterized by excessive cerebrospinal fluid on the brain that results in abnormal widening of the spaces in the ventricles, which creates harmful pressure and can be fatal if left untreated. And whereas the only treatment for hydrosyphilis requires brain surgery, and many individuals require more than one surgery to remain well. And whereas representatives from the National, Regional, and State Hydrosyphilis Association, in conjunction with leaders from professional, community, and medical-based organizations and associations, are dedicated to increasing public awareness of hydrosyphilis and the needs of families parenting children and adults diagnosed with hydrosyphilis. Now, therefore, I, Jeffrey Thomas, do hereby recognize the month of September 2025 as Hydrosyphilis Awareness Month and encourage the community to join us in this worthy observance. And this is a month that Councilmember Gamble asked that we consider recognizing a number of years ago, and I'm going to go ahead and ask Councilmember Gamble to say a few words. And here you go.
Yeah. Technology. Very near and dear. I always appreciate this. I know this is, my niece has lived with this for her whole life, and I too didn't know it was until it was, impacted, our family. And I can't tell you how much this means to my sister and my niece when they get this proclamation every year. They're going to be doing their walk. The Puget Sound has one of the biggest chapters in raising awareness and funds. That's coming up here, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. So we'll be down walking down on in the Seattle area, raising more awareness and raising funds for a cure. So thank the mayor very much, and I know we've all signed these in the past. So just thank you for recognizing it.
Thank you, Councilmember. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda, and that item will be item number 6, public hearing. This is the 2025-2026 Comprehensive Plan Amendment Docket Selection with Amy Bright. Good evening. Yes. Okay. And now you clap twice and it'll turn on.
Test.
There we
Okay,
go.
thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here tonight with our annual comprehensive plan docket. This is the 2025-2026 comp plan docket, public hearing. So next slide, please. So just an overview of the process. There's really two phases of the process. The first one tonight is where the City Council accepts the projects that will be reviewed. And then after that, after the items are accepted, then over the next year, staff, Planning Commission, and City Council will review the applications and then finally move them forward for adoption next July. So just a reminder, tonight is phase one, and that's just choosing which items they want on the docket.
And before we continue, I'm sorry, I have a script that I did not read in, and so I'm just going to go ahead and read this in. So before we proceed, so this next item I've already announced for the record for the public hearing. Before we proceed with the hearing, please note that the rules and procedures that apply to this hearing are available in the agenda packet and on the city's website. To summarize, after the hearing is open, city staff will present a staff report and council members may ask questions for clarification of staff or wait until another time. Our public hearing is now open. For the record, I am informing all parties interested in these proceedings that the city clerk has forwarded to the city council all timely written or otherwise recordable comments that have been submitted regarding the subject matter of this public hearing. And as I said earlier, I'm going to go ahead and ask that Amy Bright please provide a description of the matter that is under consideration. And like I said, after that, we will go into public comment on the items on the this item, to be redundant. So Amy, go for it.
All right. I'm going to go over this again in the next slide. So I think we could probably move on to the next one. So just in detail, the process of a comp plan amendment item. In May and June of each year, the city puts out press releases and notices in the newspaper that we're accepting comprehensive plan amendment applications, and they must be submitted to the city by the last working day of July. This year, the city received 2 comprehensive plan applications, one city initiated and one public initiated. While City Council does not meet in August, the very first meeting in September, we're coming forward with these items for City Council's consideration to see if they would like to have them moved to the docket. If you do, in September and October, staff will begin review and analysis and evaluation of the items, including a SEPA threshold determination. Next slide. Sorry. And then in November, staff will present to Planning Commission. Moving on December through March, Planning Commission will consider the applications and hold a public hearing. Then into April is when the public hearing is held and they will forward a recommendation to City Council. So next slide. Moving on tonight, the 2 items on the docket. One will be presented by Kate Turtellow, which is a city-initiated amendment to the future land use map and also a 2044 reconciliation of people, housing, and jobs. And then the second will be presented by the PUD. It's a public initiated comprehensive plan amendment related, it's text amendments to the comp plan. So I will turn it over. I think
Okay.
you could turn it over to Kate.
Thank you very much. Do any council members have any clarifying questions of staff? All right, seeing none. At this time, I'll ask if there are any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter. Unless the council wishes to impose a different limitation, there'll be a 3-minute time limit. Your time will begin after you introduce yourselves and provide your area of residence or association with the city of Monroe. Please be respectful of all speakers and the hearing procedure itself. Please also note that this is a hearing. This is an opportunity for you to address the city council. This is not intended to be a question and answer session. And so I'm going to go ahead and start off with people who've signed up to speak. We first have David Toyer. Please come on up. And again, just state your name for the record, association, and then we'll start the 3-minute timer.
Five Colby, Washington. I just signed up mostly to just indicate that the Davises, obviously, since one of the proposed amendments addresses their property and the future land use for that. We do have an interest. We would like to see the city move forward with including that in the process. It's in your city initiated docket request. And so we'd like you to just follow through with the normal process that you do for docketed amendment items every year. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak to the city council on the public hearing items this evening? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and continue. Do any council members have any additional questions that they would like to ask staff? Okay, turning to our attorney. Is that part of the public comment? Okay, so please clarify. I don't have that in my script here. So am I inviting PUD to come forward and speak from the podium? Okay,
I believe that you indicated that Ms. Turtlow would be invited first to speak on behalf of the city initiated item and then.
and then the 3 minutes.
PUD. Yes.
Okay, I'm tracking now. Thank you. So this public hearing is a little bit different than other public hearings that we do. So Kate's going to come up and give a presentation, and then PUD, as the applicant, will have 3 minutes to come forward and say a few words. Thank you. Next time I'll have more coffee before I come to our meeting. Go ahead, Kate.
Next slide. Thank you. All right, so good evening. There are there's two city initiated applications. One is kind of part A and part B. Part A is some map changes. Part B is what we call reconciliation, and it has to do with the housing, people, and job numbers that Snohomish County and the city of Monroe negotiate through the comprehensive plan process. Next slide, please. As indicated by David Toyer, the Davis-Johnson, it was called the MON 2 application to Snohomish County, was approved in December. And so we are working towards expanding our urban growth area in the north along Chain Lake Road, just above the Eaglemont subdivision. And you'll see in your packet the ordinance adopting it, and you will notice that it was in part because of the city's support. So next slide. The shaded yellow area are all the properties, kind of hugs around the city's water tower, again, north of Eaglemont. This will not have an impact on the reconciliation that I will discuss in a moment, but it does add to our ability to meet our population and housing allocations for 2044. Next slide. Then there are two mapping amendments, and these are really corrections between the city's comprehensive plan adoption in December of 2024 and the citywide rezone. We continue to have conversations with the Smith family, and it came to light. I had asked them, is this exactly what you want? Either way, you are helping us achieve our employment and housing numbers. After we got through the comprehensive plan, they're like, no, we didn't want this particular parcel included in the general commercial. So we're making that correction. It was not included in your citywide rezone. Next slide. Again, this is also a correction. There was a miscommunication in the map coloring. A private parcel got incorporated into the professional office designation, which is really supposed to be the city parcels. It was to include the food bank. And then there are the two parcels to the east, which are really right of way. That is all owned by the city. So we are making this correction. Again, that parcel in yellow that we're turning, or the highlighted one that's, well, both of them. The purple one was rezoned professional office, or excuse me, mixed use. And the yellow one was left It did not get changed. We did the citywide rezone. So we're actually kind of going backwards. We're making our comp plan consistent with our citywide rezone that you recently approved. Next slide. And then finally, reconciliation. Again, this is a process where the county and the city go back and forth. If there are differences in the allocations that we adopted for the 2044 population, housing allocation, and jobs, during the process, Snohomish County refined their numbers specifically, and in the unincorporated areas. I had a call with Steve Toy, the head demographer, last week, and was told that the county has some items that they're still working through in their comprehensive plan process. So this is really a holding point. We will get updated numbers eventually. Generally, I do not see a significant change. And the other thing I really wanted to bring to your attention is that the buildable land use capacity the city went through, we can accommodate the additional growth that we were assigned in these requested revised numbers. So this is a holding point. I will be bringing you updated information when I receive it from the county. And that's it for city applications.
Thank you very much, Kate. So the next one that we have for presentation is the proposed comprehensive plan amendment, and I'll go ahead and invite Pewdie. Good evening.
Thank you. My name is Doug Wilson. I'm a principal engineer with Snohomish County PUD. We're at 2320 California Street in Everett. And I'm here to speak a little bit about our proposed comprehensive plan amendment. Next slide. So I just wanted to start out a little bit with who we are and what it is that we're trying to accomplish. We are we are the second largest public utility in the state of Washington. We have 850,000 customers and 20,000 businesses, including the residents and businesses in the city of Monroe. Next slide, please. This is a overview of our service area and shows a little bit of where we have strategically located our community offices. So we currently have a number of community offices. There's one in the city of Monroe. There's also one in Snohomish that we're looking to combine what we're calling our East County Community Office. It's very similar to what we just recently did up in the North County Community Office, which combined our Stanwood and Arlington offices into a new single facility. The color graphic that's inset in there is showing a response time. So what we do is we look to locate our offices to maximize or minimize drive time from our responding crews to our customers. Next slide. This is just some photographs of the North County Community Office to give you an idea of what the East County Community Office might look like. Up at the sort of the top of that aerial slide, there's a two-story office building which houses engineers and customer service representatives, business functions. And there's a warehouse and then also a large loading dock, which is where our crews operate out of. Next slide. The proposed location for our East County Community Office is the First Airfield or Monroe Airport site, sort of across the street from the fairgrounds. It consists of the airport property itself, as well as two associated residential properties. Next slide. And this is just a rendering, architect's rendering of what this East County Community Office might look like developed on that site. Next slide. So the proposed comprehensive plan amendments, what we are looking to do or what we are requesting is to remove references to the airport from the comprehensive plan. It impacts a number of location or elements of the comprehensive plan, including the land use, transportation, economic development, capital facilities, and another transportation section. Next. So what is the benefit of doing this? So we are proposing to have these references removed to an airport that is slated for deactivation as part of this development. This initiates an opportunity for the city council to consider revisions to the development regulations to remove airport overlay regulations and restrictions that would support city goals. It also supports our goals of constructing the East County Community Office. Next slide. This is showing just the airport compatibility overlay that's in the development regulations. You can sort of see within that there's a red sort of funky shape. That's the airport itself. So as you can see, the airport compatibility overlay impacts a lot of the city of Monroe beyond just the airport site. And what it's doing is it's trying to prevent incompatible uses of those adjoining properties with the airport. Next slide. Those overlay restrictions involve height limitations, land use, so type of use, as well as density limitations. And ultimately, those restrictions would preclude the development of the site for our intended use. Next slide. Just quickly talking about the timing, the airport will need to be deactivated prior to final planning commission action on this. A parallel ordinance to remove the airport overlay regulations restrictions can be initiated by the city along with the comp plan amendments, possibly for approval in 2026. And that would facilitate our moving forward with our proposed development. Next slide. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so you have before you, council, items for your consideration. And do you have any questions of staff before we proceed? Okay, seeing none, I turn to the council. I'm going to ask staff, do you have anything further? Okay, so you've got a couple of requested actions for your consideration there on the slide. And so I'm just looking to the council. If you want to make a motion, you can throw your orange flag up right now because I can see all of you. Councilmember Gamble.
Didn't even have to raise the flag. Move to place the docket request on the 2025-2026 final docket.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Scarborough, second from Councilmember Hanford to move to place the docket request on the 2025-2026 final docket. Any discussion on the motion? Yep. Yes, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Councilmember Gamble was the motion. Councilmember Hanford was the second. Councilmember Scarborough was just kind enough to accept the motion as the first. All right. Like I said, more coffee before the next council meeting. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Amy. All right. We are now going to move on to the next item on the agenda. We have a need for an executive session this evening. This is under 7.1, potential litigation pursuant to RCW 42.30.110, subsection 1, subsection little I. This is for an initial 10 minutes. Again, that's RCW 42.30.110, subsection 1, subsection little I. So we are going to go into executive session beginning at 7:33 p.m. for an initial 10 minutes. I will announce any extensions to the clerk, who will announce them here in this session, and there will be action to follow after the extensions have and the executive session has concluded. Thank you.
The executive session has been extended 11 minutes. The executive session has been extended 5 minutes. The executive session has been extended 2 minutes.
Come back into session. Okay, council members, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start in about 60 seconds. We're back out of executive session. When we did the ribbon cutting earlier this year, there was one person who was very integral to this project. He was not here. And so I am here today to recognize him very briefly, because this isn't on the agenda per se. I'd like to have Jordan Otto please come up here to receive the mayor's coin. and I really appreciate all the work you do here, so thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. I turn to the council. You can pop a flag up real quick if you like. We may just do flags. Councilmember Scarborough, go ahead.
Move to approve the consent agenda as proposed.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the consent agenda from Councilmember Scarborough, a second from Councilmember Beaumont. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is item number 9. This is unfinished business. This is ordinance number 017-2025, code revisions to Monroe Municipal Code, MMC Title 9, Park Code, and this will be with Mike and Kevin. Good evening.
Check.
Check.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, council. For the record, my name is Kevin Teague. I am happy to be your Parks and Recreation Director. And with me tonight is Mike Thomas. He is our interim Parks manager. And before I hand the presentation over to Mike, I wanted to say a thank you to Director Roberts and to Mike for the great work that they've done on putting these code amendments together to get us to this point. So, Mike, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I'm here to present the first reading of the Parks and Recreation Code revisions. In July, we presented the initial code changes through the study session, and with Council's comments, we revised for the first reading. Next slide, Jody, please. The list of codes here are the unchanged revisions from the first study session. So these lists hasn't been changed this go around, but there are some in this list that had council comments on them, and we will address them later in the presentation. Next slide, Jody. The hours code. So this code was amended to define sunrise and sunset. Previously, sunrise and sunset was dawn and dusk. This was changed to clarify and clarify enforceable hours of operation and allow for entry outside of operating hours for law enforcement, first responders, city personnel, and contractors. Council had comments instead of using dusk and dawn to simplify using hours of darkness, which better accommodates all park users. City staff revised the hours of operation to include 30 minutes prior to sunrise and 30 minutes after sunset. This provides a definitive time as requested by legal counsel and the police department, and is consistent with restroom hours of operation, historically speaking. It was 30 minutes prior to sunrise and sunset. Council had comments, is there a discrepancy between updated park hours and the lighting at Lake Ty? Per the hours code, it states unless otherwise posted, parks shall be closed 30 minutes before sunrise and 30 minutes after sunset. Lake Ty has posted signage on site at the entrances stating that it's open from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. So this was put in when the turf field was lit up to accommodate the late use there. Next slide, please. The use of watercraft. This was amended to restrict the launching of boats from a trailer to designated boat launch areas unless otherwise authorized by concessionaire agreement or special event permit. It also was amended to provide the director to allow for first responders, city staff, and their contractors to utilize gas-powered motors on the lake for maintenance purposes and emergency response. Council had comments. Is it necessary to restrict launching of paddle boats, kayaks, or similar smaller personal non-motorized watercraft? The current code has been updated to state it is unlawful to launch any boat, float, raft, or other watercraft from a trailer in or upon any bank, lake, slough, river, or creek within the limits of any park except for areas specifically designated therefor. So the updated code more accurately reflects the comments from the council restricting the launching of boats from a trailer specifically to the boat launch areas. This favors the launching of paddle boats or paddle boards, kayaks, and other personalized watercraft from a variety of locations around the lake. Next slide, please. Camping. So this code wasn't changed, but we had council comment on it. It was amended to allow for camping in all park facilities through an approved special event process. So historically, it was Lake Ty and Sky River alone, and now is updated to allow for other parks, Stanton, Alborland, potentially, if there was a special event down there. Council had comments, would the definition of camping prevent families from using shade structures? Camping is defined within the definitions codes, specifies the restriction only applies to tents or shelters that are occupied for the purpose of habitation. So a shade structure would not be for the purpose of a habitation. Should definition of camp or camping, including individuals staying overnight in parks with no camping gear and only backpacks. Per the hours code, individuals who have been issued a special event permit may not stay in city parks 30 minutes prior to sunrise and 30 minutes after sunset, unless otherwise posted. So if they are there, they should not be there after hours, whether they have a camp set up, backpack, bikes, etc. Next slide, please. Sport location restrictions. This code was amended to add skateboarding and pickleball in the list of prohibited sports outside designated areas. Council had comment, would the proposed skateboarding restriction apply to riding on paths around Lake Ty and or other paths and trails? Staff looked up the codes, and the proposed code amendment would not impose a restriction on skateboarding around Lake Ty on shared paths. The skateboarding code and subcode restricted area, skateboarding is allowed on sidewalks and public paths throughout Monroe, except for the historic downtown area. Next slide, please. Litter and trash receptacles. This code was amended to prohibit the deposit of dangerous or extremely hazardous waste, human waste, or waste generated from household into city designated receptacles. Council had requested clearer language regarding the disposal of human waste, specifically with infant care or care for those who may require similar type of provisions during the visit to the parks. Staff updated the code staff updated the code to reflect the council's comments. A person may dispose of limited quantity of human sanitary waste contained within a single sealed, non-reusable absorbent garment or similar product into a waste receptacle, provided the waste was generated by an infant or an individual requiring such garments. The disposal of such waste shall be limited to the amount consistent with an incidental use during the person's visit to the park. So allowing for those items to be disposed of in city receptacles, but trying to limit the dumping of human waste in receptacles from RVs or other devices like that. Next slide, please. Fires. This was amended to designate where fires can occur and what types of devices can be used. Council indicated that there was a preference to allow for self-contained cooking appliances and propane stoves, other than without outright banning them. Staff, the code section had been updated to reflect council's comments and was changed to, unless otherwise posted, operation of gas or grills or similar gas cooking appliances is allowed in areas of the park not designated for other use and only upon sand, gravel, asphalt, concrete, and irrigated grass surfaces. All such grass grills or similar gas cooking appliances shall be supervised during the operation at all times. The not designated for other use was specific to this to allow for us to keep gas grills out of playgrounds, sports facilities, and walking trails and combustible spaces. So trying to limit where those gas stoves can go. Next slide, please. Park exclusion. This code was amended to allow for law enforcement personnel to issue and enforce trespass violations, increase the exclusionary period, and allow for trespass notices to apply for all parks. Also was updated, was updated to consider unsworn declaration versus a sworn report per legal counsel. Council comments requested that the park exclusion periods be increased to at least 1 year. The section was updated to reflect the council's comments. First offense is 1 year exclusion, allowing but not requiring up to 2-year exclusionary period depending on the circumstances. An example of this being if there is a trespass within the last year, that exclusionary period can be increased up to 2 years. And if there's a weapons violation, there doesn't have to be a previous exclusionary period. It can automatically go up to 2 years. Council also requested that the park exclusion apply to all parks if feasible, and not only to the park in which the violation occurred. The code section has been updated to reflect the council's comments, allowing for all parks to be included in the exclusion process. Next slide, please. Violation and penalty.
Mike, just a second. Councilmember Scarborough.
Can I go back one slide? When you refer to staff response, as far as weapons are concerned, what does that exclude somebody with a concealed carry permit, or does that say no weapons in the parks at all?
I think the intention is that it would be a criminal offense that happens with a weapon.
Criminal what?
An offense that happens, that involves a weapon. A reason for a person to be
In other words, if
excluded.
somebody does something wrong, they used a weapon, and they're going to be excluded from using the parks. Not somebody that has a concealed carry permit is carrying a weapon, correct?
I believe that's correct. I'm looking to Jake.
Police department will get in on this. Is that correct or not?
I think the intent of the code makes a lot of sense. I think the possession of a concealed carry permit and a firearm would not be a police matter. I don't know how you want to reflect that in the code, but I imagine that there's plenty of protections in place for someone to carry a weapon inside of a city park.
Jake is at the end. Jake is going to go ahead and chime in.
Yes, council member, that's the intent of the code as it's written. And I concur with Commander Ryan that the intent is if there is an offense that occurs and a weapon is involved, it would be more punitive, I suppose, in the way that it is read.
All right. Any other questions on this slide? Go ahead, Councilmember Fisher.
I just wanted to talk on the new microphone. No, actually, the next thing would be open carry. So not having a concealed weapons permit, but open carry. Because I've seen it.
Okay, so just clarification, open carry is permitted in our parks, correct? Under this code revision? As long as you are not, once you're committing a crime with the weapon, whether it's open carry or concealed, then the exclusion applies. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, that answers your question. Okay. Councilmember Walker, go ahead.
I'm a Second Amendment person, but if we could, I would like to add something not allowing open carry in parks. I think that there could be many situations where a person is I don't know if that's possible, but if you're exercising your right, walking around a park with a rifle, I'd want some kind of code to be able to stop them and prevent that scenario.
Okay. Do our regulations currently prohibit open carry of any firearm in our parks? Okay, the answer is no. So that's not currently a prohibition. Have we had any issues with people open carrying in our parks? I'm just asking the questions that I think that other council members might be thinking, and then I'm just going to ask a broad question.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Councilmember Walker's expressed an interest. Is there any other interest from any other council members in limiting open carry in our parks? Okay. So thank you, Councilmember Walker. Yep.
That question is interest
Any other interest. I understood that there was an interest from you. I just wanted to see if there was an interest from any other council member. In like that, we don't have a long conversation about open carry. I just asked the question and then, yep, okay, perfect.
And no one, there's no one else in following up on that?
Correct. Oh, you do? Okay.
I'm just saying, if there's a person standing next to Lake Tide Park, open carry, I get it, the open carry part, I would like there to be some kind of code device. Law enforcement say, put your gun away, and just park right there.
Okay, one moment. All right, so I have two council members that have expressed an interest in adding that, so I would suggest that there be a motion to provide direction to staff. This is for first reading, to add a prohibition and then see if I've got clear direction from the council. If I have 4 council members in favor, then that is clear direction to the staff to add a revision to the ordinance to prohibit open carry in the parks. So are one of the two of you willing to make a motion to that effect?
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, yes, go ahead.
pardon me for the interruption. May I request a very brief recess to consult with staff?
Yes.
And yourself? Thank you.
Yes. So we will be in recess for 5 minutes. The time right now is 8:21 PM. We'll be in recess until 8:26 PM. Thank you. Question that thank you. That's really loud now. The question that I've posed to council is, there are times where direction from council can produce some significant work. And so this is one of those things that I just want to make certain that rather than just me giving direction to staff to go ahead and, amend something that's being brought to you, I'd like to get an affirmative vote from the council as to whether or not this is direction that you would like me to provide to the council, to the staff. So I'm looking to the two folks that were talking about prohibiting open carry in our parks and looking to see if there's a motion to provide direction to mayor and staff to look into amending the proposal to prohibit open carry in our parks. Okay, so I'll turn to the council. Is there a motion to that effect? And if not, we'll continue with the presentation. Go ahead.
There we go. Oh my goodness, that is really loud. I hope I can paraphrase what you just said. I move to direct staff and the mayor to look into an amendment to.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll take a crack at, I think, what I tried to say before. What I'm looking for, if this is the direction that we're going to have staff look into this, is something to the effect that you move to provide direction to mayor and staff to look into incorporating a prohibition of open carry in our parks, either as part of this process or as part of another appropriate process.
Okay.
Okay. So
I move to provide direction to mayor and staff to investigate prohibiting open carry in our city parks.
okay, that'll work. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Okay. So I have a motion and a second. Essentially, I'd be providing direction, as you just heard, to prohibit open carry in our parks. We would, as part of that, do a number of reviews on RCW and then look at the mechanism, whether it's this ordinance or another ordinance, and we'd bring that back at second reading if this were the majority of council's direction. So I have a motion on the table. Is there any discussion on the motion? And if not, I'll call for the question. Is there any discussion on the motion? Councilmember Scarborough.
I would approach and concede to having a discussion about it at some point. Does that help on the motion?
That helps me understand that you're willing to have a conversation. Right now, when it comes time for a vote, I'd like to know if this is the current direction. Otherwise, it's something that can be slated for a future conversation. Thank you, Councilmember. Any other discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Councilmember Hanford, who put his virtual hand up.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I am not in favor of this. I will be voting against it. I have friends that open carry just for their own protection. If you remember not too long ago, there was a Rottweiler, a pit bull that attacked and injured. I can't remember how bad it was, but it was during COVID. And I started carrying my weapon during that time on my walks through our parks because the dog was loose. So there's very good reasons to carry, whether it be concealed or open. And in my opinion, it's against our Second Amendment. And we don't have an issue right now. So I feel like we're creating an issue, trying to fix some issue that's not even there yet. So I'll be voting against.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Councilmember Fulcher, and then Councilmember Beaumont. Councilmember Fulcher?
Thank you. I will be voting against it as well. I think that open carry has created more of a safe environment. I think that we are essentially borrowing trouble by looking at prohibiting this. So I'll be voting against looking into prohibiting open carry.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Beaumont?
Is this on? Yes, it is. I just wanted to put out there that we are living in very different times now than we were. And as someone who works in schools with students and staff, that some of the school shootings and a lot of the violence, gun violence that has happened throughout our nation has made a lot of children and parents reactive when they see guns. And I think we need to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Councilmember Walker.
I just want to speak to why this was on my mind in the first place. You see viral videos every day where a person gets let go by a police department and the police department says, that's not against the law. We don't have a law that we can charge that person with. That's not there. If there's a scenario, and actually, let me back up. I come from a Second Amendment family. I'm a concealed carry person. I conceal carry when I go on walks. Conceal carry is in the current code, or we were talking about putting that in. I have no problem with that. I understand that. But if you have a conversation amongst gun owners, the most common sentiment is, if you want to walk around a park with a rifle, you're probably a LARPer, or you're doing it as a joke, or not a joke, but it might be a threat. And if there's someone standing next to Lake Tide Park with a rifle, I want our cops to be able to walk up and say, get out of our park. You're not following the code. I don't want to be the viral video where the cops have to walk up after a phone call and go, sorry, we can't do anything. That guy's able to stand there with his AR-15. I'm not okay with that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. All right, any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Okay, motion fails 3-4 with Councilmembers Hanford, Councilmember Fisher, Councilmember Fulcher, and Councilmember Gamble voting against. Did I get that right? All right, thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and continue with the presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Jody, next slide. Yeah. All right, so one of the last changes that we had, violation and penalty, this code was recently amended to align with the prosecutor's requested language for this section. High level violators shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. So it's just more of a language change in that. Next slide. Additional comments. Council asked, what is the process for adding memorial park benches to memorial plaques? We, on the agenda, added the process, or the the link to the donation policy on the city's website. But basically, there is a policy, and we base it on, is there a need in the proposed location? Does it fit the area? Has there been a request for that specific area for other benches in that area? So specifically the northwest corner of Lake Tide Park, over the years, we've heard that there needs to be another bench in that area. When there was a memorial donation that was brought up, we remembered that there was a request to add an additional bench in that area so that we can complete the gap basically between the north side and the west side, and have a place to rest for some other elders in the elderly residents. So also, the benches must fit our design standards and maintenance standards. So there's a specific bench, specific color, and a specific size to the plaques, and we don't adjust on those dimensions. So it has to fit our standards. The donation must be received prior to the order. That way, we're not stuck paying for a bench that we didn't budget for. Applicant pays for all materials associated with the install, so concrete, the bench itself, the hardware to install it, and then it's property of the city once installed. What organization stocks the fish at Lake Tye? Snohomish Sportsman's Club and the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife. Next slide, please. In conclusion, first reading of the updated ordinance is tonight. Second reading of the updated ordinance is scheduled for September 23rd.
All right, thank you very much. So looking at council, are there any other items that council would like to see added to, or questions that you'd like answered for the second reading? Go ahead, Councilmember Beaumont.
Thank you for the presentation. I did have a question. This is regarding the skateboarding, which I believe was slide 7. We talk about historic downtown area, and I feel that we need a more descriptive term. Is that the promenade? Is that, I feel that we need to provide some kind of a, street, more of just a delineation of what that means. So that's slide 7.
That specific code has the streets listed within.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah. I just didn't write them all down. But,
Oh, okay.
But it does
So-
have a list of streets within, Lewis Street to such and such street.
Right. I'm curious if you could tell us what that area is tonight.
Sorry, I don't have that specific.
That's okay. No worries. All right. The other question I have, and you may chuckle at this, but it's slide 8 when we're talking about the human waste at the park. And we go to great lengths to use descriptors basically to describe a diaper. And I'm wondering if in parens, we might just add diaper into that verbiage. There will be people that maybe read that and really truly don't understand what we're talking about. And I think it's really important that people understand our code. So I would really appreciate it if you could add that in at some point. Thank you.
All right, and Jacob mentioned that he's got a response to one of those items.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Beaumont, in 10.16.030 of the municipal code, no person shall ride a go-kart, roller skates, scooter, or skateboard within the city upon a public sidewalk. And I'll just ramble off the streets from here on because it says upon a public sidewalk several times. Highway 2 to Madison Street, inclusive of Lewis Street between Highway 2 and Fremont, Main Street between Highway 2 and Madison Street, Lewis Street between Highway 2 and Fremont. So it's essentially that Highway 2 to Fremont box, and then Madison to, what did I say there? I didn't say Ferry, did I? Madison to Ferry on the east side. Hang on, I got lost. Anyway, there is a very descriptive section of the code that talks about that area. So,
All right, thank you. Councilmember Hanford.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I concur with what Councilmember Beaumont said about the diaper comment. But I wanted to thank all of the staff for the work they did on addressing all of the questions that we had, because there were several. And I was reading it, and when I was going through this, it just was so nice to see how everything was answered line by line, and very satisfying. One question about the memorial benches is it staff that installs it or I would assume so. Yeah. I wanted to say that that new bench that was just installed looks great and commend the staff that installed it because I was walking by and they were just finishing up and they were super happy and cheerful and very friendly. And they were just finishing it and like, yeah, it looks great. So thank you. Great
Let
work.
them know. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
And so I'll make the motion.
You're making a motion?
For the reading, sorry. I'll do the first read.
Oh, for first reading. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Thank you. I forgot about first reading.
if we can.
Jeffrey, coffee, more need.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Are you ready, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay. I move to accept as first reading ordinance number 017-2025, amending chapter 9.28. Sorry, it's kind of cut off.
It is cut off.
Yeah, amending chapter 9.28, MMC Park Code, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
I have a motion from Councilmember Hanford, a second from Councilmember Gamble, to accept his first reading as shown on the screen. Any discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Councilmember Walker.
Mike, did you do in that format where it said council question and then answer?
I cannot say I did.
All right, well, whoever did and also you, as I've said before, I'm a big Mike Thomas fan club guy, so thank you for all the work you do.
Thank you.
The code revision setup was awesome, so thanks to staff as well. Thanks.
Anybody else, when he said all the work you do, this budget's for you, come up in their head? Okay. All right, so go ahead, Councilmember Fisher.
Yeah, just thanks again for putting all this together. It's a ton of work and I really, really appreciate it. I didn't see anything there for day camping, like as far as camping in vehicles, things like that during the day.
There's nothing that specifically that
Okay.
says.
Is there, do the police have something for that?
That's another one of those very gray areas that I'd want to consult legal counsel with.
Okay.
There's a number of pieces of case law that have changed that back and forth over the last few years. So I would need time to give you an answer.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe it belongs more with PD than with parks.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get some more information on that
Okay,
for second reading.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor of accepting this first reading? Say aye. Yes. Okay, I'll just ask the next one. Anybody opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0. All right, so that's been approved as first reading. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is item 9.2, Republic Services Contract, Response to Labor Disruption Event and Review of Contract Status. Council members, we're going to remove this from the agenda this evening. Is there any objection to that? Saying none, this is now removed from the agenda. Item number 10, new business, 10.1, ordinance number 019-2025, granting a non-exclusive franchise agreement and Intermountain Infrastructure Group with what I just said. First reading, Liam McCorkle.
There we go. Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Council. Welcome to your new City Hall Council chambers. It's very exciting. Before you tonight is a franchise agreement for Intermountain Infrastructure Group, IIG, to operate a telecommunication network within the city right-of-way. Monroe Municipal Code 5.54 requires all telecommunication services to enter into a franchise agreement prior to use of the city's right-of-way. IIG provides dark fiber and telecommunication services to hyperscalers and commercial customers, including other telecommunication providers. IIG holds a number of other franchise agreements across Washington State and wants to continue to expand services into our region. This agreement before you is for an initial 5-year term. The agreement was reviewed by legal counsel. The agreement and the application is all contained in your agenda packets. City Council is asked tonight to consider proceeding with this franchise agreement. If granted, the applicant will still be subject to any and all necessary permits and permitting fees. I also have, I believe, online Emily from Ogden Murphy Wallace to help answer any legal questions that council may have. So with that, I will hand it back to the mayor.
All right, thank you very much. And then I do have Emily, she's got her hand up, so if we could just bring her forward. She's from Ogden Murphy, right?
Correct.
Okay, just in case any questions come up. Thank you. All right. So I turn to the council, any questions or a motion? Go ahead, Councilmember Walker Fisher. There you go. Councilmember Fisher.
Make a motion. Move to accept at first reading ordinance 019-2025, granting the Intermountain Infrastructure Group LLC and its affiliates, successors, and assigns the right, privilege, authority, and non-exclusive franchise for 5 years to construct, maintain, operate, replace, and repair telecommunications network in, across, over, along, under, through, and below certain designated public right-of-ways of the city of Monroe, Washington.
I have a motion from Councilmember Fisher, a second from Councilmember Beaumont for the request to action is shown on the screen. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 10.2. This is ordinance number 018-2025, amending MMC 5.02 business licenses with Leanne Barr, who appears to be Jody tonight.
Yeah. I wasn't sure when I created the agenda bill who was going to be taking it forward, so.
So you assigned it to yourself.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Leanne Barr, AKA Jody Wyckoff. I am bringing forward tonight for you for first reading an ordinance to update the model ordinance language that was passed by legislation back in 2017 and was enacted in 2019, created a model ordinance for all cities within the state that did business licenses, created a minimum threshold for out-of-city businesses and defined the engaging in business. Recently, in 2024, a group of cities reviewed the model ordinance and updated the minimum threshold for out-of-city businesses. It is going from $2,000 of gross revenue to $4,000. Also, some other changes include a every 4-year increase based on inflation. And luckily, we found out that the state is going to do that calculation for us and let us know when we need to do that, because I was a little concerned about how we're going to remember to do that in 4 years. Also, the other minor updates is there's a statewide system where we do all of our business licensing. It used to be called Master License Services or something along those lines. It is now called Business License Services. So we updated that reference throughout the code. And that is all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Wyckoff Barr or a motion? Go ahead, Councilmember Beaumont.
I move to accept as first reading ordinance 018/2025, amending Monroe Municipal Code, Chapter 5.02, business licenses, amending the minimum threshold, exempting certain businesses from licensing requirements, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date.
I have a motion from Councilmember Beaumont, a second from Councilmember Hanford for the request to action under new business 10.2 as shown on the screen. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 10.3. This is proposed amendments relating to permit processing with Washington State and Washington State Bill, Washington Senate Bill 5290, local permitting with Kate Turtlow. I was pretending I was having problems with the words so you could walk up to the desk and set yourself up. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Thank you,
Kate.
Mayor and Council. This is an introduction, and I'm going to apologize right now. It's very dry material, but it's stuff that we need to get through. So before I begin the presentation, I just want to walk through what is in your packets this evening. The first part is more details on the state law. The application the city filled out as part of our permitting process. Every single code that is being touched with this proposed package. a copy of the bill itself that was passed in 2023, our notice to Commerce, as well as their notice back stating they had no comments, and then finally, the Planning Commission's finding and recommendation. Next slide. Maybe. All right, so what we're talking about is how we process land use applications. The state back in the 1990s used to call it regulatory reform, and it said cities, you can't stall when you're reviewing applications, and so they set out guidelines. In 2023, they modified this partly under the provision that housing is an issue in the state, and so they wanted to expedite the process. So in the bill, it gives us guidance that not only do you need to change it, but if you don't do this by January 1st, 2025, we supersede your authority. So the city of Monroe is in the process of updating the code, but we've already been using these two new timeframes that I will be going over this evening. It also included grant opportunities. Unfortunately, Monroe was ahead of the curve and already digitized most of our information from permitting, applications, property information, subdivisions. And then we had already started our contract for the permit tracking software, which is we're in process of getting that up and running early next year, which were some of the grants. And then another component was from now on, we have to report to the state how many applications that we have permitted throughout the year that are in this classification. How many did we not miss, or how many did we miss the time frame? And if we did miss the time frame, did we or did we not have prior approval with the applicant? So back in March, we actually provided our first report to Commerce. We shared it with the City Council in one of our CD reports. There were 2 that we missed, but we had talked to the applicants. So we get 100% from my point of view. So going forward from now on, we will have to do this on an annual basis. And then finally, the reason, since we had to go in and look at the code for processing, we also took it as an opportunity to do some housekeeping. Next slide. So really the big picture is back in the 90s, again, that timeline was 120 days. It did not include subdivisions, which are under a different state statute. That does not change. And you'll see in the footnote, subdivisions as well as wireless communication facilities are not included. So with the state statute, they recognize that when you're doing process, if you have to do a public hearing or you have to do public noticing, that adds additional time to your process. So instead of a generic 120 days, we now have 3 timeframes. If it's an administrative decision, no public noticing, we have to make a decision or a determination within 65 days after the city has determined the application is complete. And that is simply our application says you need to provide X, Y, and Z. You provided X, Y, and Z. We move to the review process. The next category, and that just for your information, is the accessory dwelling units, boundary line adjustment. Those are pretty regular projects that we review, not controversial. It's you meet the code or you don't. The next item is 100 days, and that's still an administrative a review process, but we have to provide comments. So that might be a site plan. A good example is the Lakeview building. So it's a site plan review, but it required us to do environmental analysis. As soon as we have to do that, we do have to provide public comment, so the time period is extended. And then our final category are those that have public hearings, and that is now 170 days. And so that's really the big picture. Most of this work takes place in Chapter 2284, which is our permit processing. But again, we also took this as an opportunity to do some house cleaning, ensuring internal consistency, and now consistency with state law. And as I mentioned earlier, we will have this annual reporting from here on out. Next slide. These are all the chapters that were touched. One piece I forgot to mention is that the state law also said If you fail to meet this new time frame, you will be financially penalized. So we will have to provide a refund to the applicant if we have not already had some form of a negotiated, we know this project will extend the timeline. So that's why chapter 3.34 is in there. All of these details are in your packet. I'm not going to walk you through them because I'll put you to sleep. So if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. This is just an introduction. The other piece that I really do want to bring to your attention is chapter 2284. Again, that is where all of our permit processing is. Today, there are 4 permit types. 1, 2, and 3 are our administrative or public hearing. Now we're extending that to 6. The 4th category used to be your legislative, so your comprehensive plan updates, your code amendments, citywide rezone. That has been reclassified as 6. That is 100% exempt from these timeframes. The reason we added 2 categories is one of them is the site-specific rezones weren't clearly explained in our code previously, so we took this opportunity to create a new category 4. So the application, as it's processed, the public hearing occurs at the hearing examiner, and then the hearing examiner provides the recommendation to City Council. City Council takes final action. Then category number 5 is also brand new, and this is specifically for annexations and development agreements, which you've already heard a little bit about this evening. So as a clarification. And then, okay, and I've already gone through the types. So in reviewing this, I do want to bring to your attention that we may have just a few minor changes before we get to the public hearing, which I'm hoping you'll be agreeable to at the end of October, or September. And that is to change some clarifications. So in the appeals, some items go to Superior Court, some items go to the Growth Management Hearings Board. Instead of using that specific language, we would rather cite it with the Revised Code of Washington, the specific state statute, because there are exemptions and or specifications in there. There's also a few word choices. I will point those out in the next staff report. Next slide. It's all right. All new. Okay, so just a review of what our process is. This is all process. It's exempt from SEPA, so we did not have to do that. Again, we've already sent it to Commerce. We've done our public outreach. The Planning Commission has reviewed this over a couple of meetings, held their public hearing, and prepared findings and a recommendation. So again, I'm hoping City Council is agreeable to hold a public hearing on September 23rd. If that goes well, then I'm hoping second reading and final action will occur on October 14th. And then at the end of that, we will send it to the Department of Commerce as required by state law. Do you have any questions? And I'm ready to do a deep dive if you have specific pages you have questions on.
All right, thank you very much, Kate. As noted on here, this is going to be coming back to you for a public hearing and also for first reading on September 23rd, unless there's objection from the council at this time. Council members, do you have any comments at this time? Again, this will come back to you on the 23rd and then again for second and final reading at a future date. All right, seeing no questions, thank you very much for the presentation this evening, Kate.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item 10.4. This is Davis Notice of Intention to Commence Annexation Initial Meeting. Amy Bright, good evening again.
Good evening again. It's okay. Hey, good evening, Mayor and Council. We are here tonight because the city received an application for annexation at the end of July. It's called the Davis annexation. We've talked about it tonight, earlier tonight as well. Next slide. And as you may recall from previous annexations, the very first step in the process is an initial meeting with the proponent and city council. Just giving, before they come forward to speak with you about their proposal, city staff has met on this topic. We've met with Public Works to discuss, sewer and water capacity and access to the site. I think that the city and the proponent are in agreement that an interlocal agreement will be required with the county because we don't currently have a master interlocal agreement in place. We'll also be requiring a development agreement similar to the Monroe 30 annexation. But we'll also need to go through pre-annexation zoning before they move on to the 60% signatures. So at this time, that concludes my introduction.
Okay. Thank you very much. Council members, and then do we have the requested motion or? Okay. Council members, do you have any questions about this initial meeting with council or the presentation? Okay. Okay, go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to show you the annexation area. It's on the screen and in your packet.
Okay. All right. So any other questions?
No, that's all. It's just that the proponents, I think, need to come forward.
Okay, I'll go ahead and invite the proponents forward then. Thank you. It's the comp plan from earlier tonight, and then they are different creatures. Thank you.
They are different creatures.
All right, David, you're up again.
Hey, thank you, Mayor, members of council, David Toyer, Toyer Strategic, 3705 Colby Avenue, Everett, Washington. We're the land use firm representing the Davises in the annexation. This is a 60% petition process for annexation. So it starts with this 10% petition, which is really just a notification of the city we have an interest in annexing. From that, the city makes a decision on whether or not you want to keep the process going, and usually make certain decisions as a part of a resolution as far as saying like, hey, we want it to be this zoning, we'd like it to have or assume its proportionate share of the city's indebtedness once it's annexed. Those sorts of decisions end up having to be made as a part of a 10% petition. That information gets packaged up into a 60% petition that then gets circulated and then eventually works its way back to the city council for additional consideration. During that time when the 60% petition's out there, we would be working with the city staff to assist where we can with the interlocal agreement process with Snohomish County. There's not a master interlocal agreement between Marysville and the county, but Marysville was able to do an individual annexation interlocal for the Monroe 30 annexation, which we could do a similar one in this particular case for this property. And that would be necessary in order to get the county's support so that they don't invoke jurisdiction of the Boundary Review Board. The other piece of this is much like Monroe 30, we recognize that the city would like to have a development agreement so that we can clarify exactly kind of what development may occur in this future area being annexed into the city. I know there's a couple of items that the city has discussed with us, and our clients are amenable to those items, which would include some trail connectivity across the property, as well as an extension of the Chain Lake Trail up the frontage of the property, moving it closer to the school district. And then there is a desire of the city, obviously, like Monroe 30, to see for some mix of housing units so that it's more consistent with kind of fulfilling your overall housing needs as a city. We're good with all of that. I think that we've got a really good framework, having just worked, or at least our office just worked with your team on the Monroe 30 annexation. And this should go a lot smoother because we've already done that work. And I think we have a really good, solid foundation to build from because there shouldn't be a lot different about this than was raised in the Monroe 30 annexation. So what we would request tonight is that council keep this process moving forward by directing your staff to bring back a resolution to accept the 10% petition and then go ahead and direct the 60% petition and the other processes can get underway. So thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, all right, great. We've got the requested action up on the screen. I turn to the council. Are there any questions for staff, or is there a motion? We've got some requested actions for your consideration. Go ahead, Councilmember Gamble, who's leaning forward and thinking about putting his flag up, but knowing that I can see him. So
Beautiful. I
you
move
got
to
it.
direct staff to prepare and return for the city council's consideration a resolution accepting the annexation boundary of the 10% annexation petition for property located in an unincorporated area north of city limits, and to require the assumption of existing indebtedness of the city by the area to be annexed, to authorize the circulation of a petition for annexation of the property consistent with this motion, and to direct the city clerk to record this action in the official minutes.
Second, Scarborough.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Gamble, a second from Councilmember Scarborough for the first bullet under requested action as shown on the screen. Any discussion on the motion? Saying none, I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Now, are we looking for motions for the rest of them as well?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Gamble. You look like you're.
That's fine.
Move to direct staff to commence review process for pre-annexation zoning for the subject properties.
A motion from Councilmember Gamble, second from Councilmember Hanford for the second bullet on the screen under requested action. Any discussion on the motion? Saying none, I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next item.
Move to direct staff to coordinate with the applicants to meet with all affected city departments in Snohomish County Regional Fire and Rescue at a pre-application meeting, discuss the conceptual layout of the site, extension of utilities, the transportation network, et cetera.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Gamble, second from Councilmember Hanford for item number 3, shown under requested action on the screen. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Move to direct staff to coordinate with the applicants to prepare and submit a pre-annexation development agreement.
I have a motion from Councilmember Gamble, a second from Councilmember Scarborough. Any discussion on the motion? This is for item number 4 on the requested action screen. There being no discussion, I will call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Move to direct staff to coordinate with Snohomish County to prepare the site-specific annexation interlocal agreement covering the transfer of and or maintenance of utilities, infrastructure, permitting, et cetera.
Go ahead. Okay, a motion from Councilmember Gamble, second from Councilmember Hanford for the 5th motion as shown on the screen. Any discussion on the motion? Saying none, I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is Councilmember reports. So we'll start off with Councilmember Hanford.
Thank you, Mayor. It's been, well, first of all, it's wonderful to be in the new building. But I think the thing that I love the most, if you remember years ago, I had said that when we do this type of remodel, we need to have an arc to the dais so that we can see each other, because it's our meeting. And half the time it's like trying to look down there. So this is wonderful to be able to see everybody and see all your faces. So the National Night Out was wonderful, as usual. Saw some of you there. Parade was great. I know you'll talk about it, but missed Councilmember Gamble. I know he was out of town for personal family things, but everyone else was great to be there with you. And the fair as well. And I wanted to tell you something that brought me some great joy last month. It was one of those hot nights that we had where you could go outside in your shorts like at 9, 10 o'clock at night and a t-shirt and still be hot. And I hadn't got to my walk that morning. So I did a late walk, and I'm coming around the synthetic fields as it's now totally dark with all the lights on. And there was just a lot of joy when I saw in one corner a group of kids doing softball, practicing hitting balls. In another corner, some lacrosse people practicing their moves and goals. And another corner, some kids playing soccer, kicking it around. And another corner, just kids hanging out. And it was just so cool to see the whole field was being utilized and no one was getting in each other's way. And I was like, this is exactly what we wanted. So it's just very gratifying. I took a picture actually.
That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Walker.
It's been a long time. I'll just say nothing to report.
All right. Thank
Lots to report, but
you. Thank you. Councilmember Fulcher.
Tricky, sir. One thing that I do want to say how much I enjoyed was our tour of the prison. That was very cool. For those of us who stayed after and got to go into the old prison, there was just a lot of history there. And I know it's a weird place to get excited about, but it was just a phenomenal tour. I want to thank the gentleman who did that particularly. Other than that, the last 6 weeks, I've missed you all, but our town is hopping, and I am just so proud of everything that's happening here and all the city staff that makes it happen. Just want to say thank you to everyone for keeping everything rolling, and I love Monroe.
Thank you. Councilmember Gamble.
Pulling a fast one.
I'm doing every other person. There's.
Oh, I gotcha. I gotcha. No, it's great to be in Chambers. National Night Out was awesome. I always love going to each booth. There was a new one this year that was, you probably can guess, was my favorite, and that was Fish and Game. And I thought that was awesome that we actually had a Wash Department of Fish and Game was there. And so that was pretty cool. I do, the parade is always my favorite. Made reference to my niece earlier today with the proclamation on hydrocephalus. She thinks the parade's for her. So that's always her favorite too. So, you know, I had to dance around that we weren't going to do the parade, but I was attending my nephew's wedding. Otherwise I would have absolutely. So I greatly missed the event, the annual event, but I was there in spirit, and I got to make it up to my niece now. So anyway, that's it.
All right. Thank you very much. Councilmember Scarborough.
Thank you. The parade was good as always. I am looking forward to going to the parade next year where I can see everything behind me. The horses, the other exhibits. I'll look forward to that. So 6 weeks was a long time off. And I was talking to, I'm not sure who we were sitting down here, but we were talking about the homeless situation around town. I felt like and I've been asked about it. Seems like there was a pretty large bunch of people in Travelers Park a few weeks ago. It seems to have dissipated now down to much less, but I hope it's not because they're migrating and coming back. Other than that, it's just nice to be back. The new chambers are phenomenal. I'm sorry I'll only be able to appreciate them for about 3 months, but I'm glad that it didn't go past that and I didn't get to not appreciate them at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Scarborough. Councilmember Beaumont.
It is really nice to be in here. It's beautiful. It just somehow feels like we're doing even better work than we normally do in this beautiful setting. Really missed everybody. It's nice to be back together again and welcome people that are still sitting out there hanging in with us. It's 2-3 hours here. Had just a great summer. Councilmember Hanford's comment about seeing Lake Ty Park being used for exactly what we want it used for. I'm down there a lot, and just the other night there was a group playing cricket, and sat and watched that and thought, I want to know more about cricket. I want to know how this game is played, and went up and asked some people to explain it. They were more than happy to explain it, very kind and open to some questions. And it was just another one of those great evenings where you realize that, if you build it, they will come. That's exactly what we've done at Lake Ty Park. Just fantastic. Other than that, tried to get out and float the river a few times and, kind of see what the arrangement is with the boat launch and people using the river in that way, and a lot of fun. Went to Swift Night Out the other night, which was a lovely event and so unique to Monroe, really, really cool. And I'm very, very happy about the urban forest management plan and the street tree inventory project. And I want to make sure our heritage tree program is included in that, and that when people are out taking inventory of our trees, that those beautiful old historic wonderful trees are included in our inventory and infrastructure. So hopefully that will happen, and very happy that's getting underway. And just very, very happy to be back in chambers with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fisher.
So you guys know better than to leave me unsupervised for 6 weeks, right? Like that's a really poor decision. So yes, council chambers are great. Super excited to be here. It's awesome to see everybody up here. And then I'm just going to go down a little bit of the list here. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Downtown, that's going to be one of the things on my list in these next few months to keep bringing up. I think the things that the city has done down there look fabulous. But when you come into town, Councilmember Scarborough mentioned Travelers Park, and then you go in and the first building you see on the right's all boarded up. So not acceptable in my view of us wanting to generate a really good downtown. So I want that to be kind of on a list of things that we really look at. Park trespass, again, totally appreciate all the work that has gone into that. My feeling on that and increasing that from a week to a year is to gently nudge the people that are not using our human services to better their lives. So no guarantee that it's going to work, but if it doesn't, now we know 2 things that don't work and we can start working on the 3rd. So that's kind of the feeling behind that for me, is to really try and get people to start using those human services that the residents of Monroe pay for and our grants pay for. Along with that, closing the gates. I want to kind of revisit that again. Closing the gates at night down at Al Borland. I think that can probably make things a little bit simpler and take away the temptation to go down there at night and camp or start fires or illegal dump, any one of those things. So this is going to go right into my trash cleanup. So trash cleanup has been going on all summer for me down in that area. I'm at somewhere between 130, 140 garbage bags, and we're talking big contractor garbage bags. 45 minutes to an hour per bag is about what it takes to fill those up as I wander through all the trails and pick up trash. Some people have joined me. It's actually kind of turned into a really cool thing. Mayor Thomas joined me. Councilmember Fulcher has joined me. I've had some friends join me. Of course, my wife has joined me, sometimes reluctantly, but she always comes out and has a good sport. And then, yeah, some friends. Roger has also helped, and then Molly Barnes as well. So it's been kind of nice just to kind of go down there. It's almost like playing golf with people, only we're picking up trash and it smells worse than a golf ball. But you just have these conversations as you're walking through the park, which has been great. But that's a lot of trash and something that we need to continue to stay on top of. Councilmember Hanford, I always want to call people by their first names when I'm up here. So there's always that pause every single time. You're going to notice that. Councilmember Hanford had talked about that feeling that he got seeing Lake Tide Park with everybody there. So I felt that exact same thing on some of the days down at Al Borland. Unfortunately, I don't feel that way most of the days when I'm down there cleaning up trash. And the trash isn't, it's not good trash. I mean, it's pretty disgusting, honestly. So I want to have that feeling more days than not when I'm down at the park that's by my house, like the park that's by their house. Helped a few people down there. I talked to them. I talked to everybody that's down there. Homeless or not, addicts or not, it doesn't make any difference. I talk to every single person down there if they're willing to have a conversation with me. And I'm not going to give you some of the stories up here on the dais, but oh my gosh, there are some great stories. So from all kinds of different people. And I don't think that we realize how many people come from out of our area to actually go down to the river in Al Borland. I've seen family reunions down there this summer, just people down there with their kids, people from South King County, people from North. There was a guy from Pennsylvania that was there. I mean, we attract a lot of people down there. So it's kind of it's a really, really cool park. On the other side of the boat launch on 203, there's an encampment. I think it's on Snohomish County property. I've put it into Comcade. I'm kind of waiting to kind of hear part of that. I like to get that cleared out before the flooding season. It's a pretty big encampment. And it's that one of those weird ones, you know, it's kind of on the line. It's on private property. It's high water mark. So we'll have to get creative with that. But I got a hold of WASDOT, and WASDOT cleaned up that entire area over there, and they were amazing. They probably met with them. They wouldn't let me help because it's WASDOT land and they didn't want to have me get hurt on their land. But it was a flatbed truck full of huge garbage bags. So got that cleaned up. Needs a little bit more, needs to be churched up a little bit more, as I like to say, going down there. Probably pick a little bit more things up. The turn lane on Main Street, so we can take or head southbound on Kelsey. That was awesome. Thank you so much. The stop bars in the neighborhood for the stop signs, super cool. Totally appreciate that. And like I said, you know better than to leave me unsupervised for 6 weeks. So that's all I've got.
All right,
So
thank you
been
very
busy.
much.
Thank you.
All right, staff department reports. We do not have any staff. Actually, we're going to ask you to just go ahead and review the packets. If you've got any questions about the reports, please let us know. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next one, which is mayor and administrative reports. We'll start off with the city administrative report, the extended agenda with Jacob, who's doing backup.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Coming up at the City Council Finance Human Resources Committee meeting, we have an IT policy update with Ben Worthen and Jason Ladwig, and then a mid-year evaluation completion review with Ben Worthen. At the regular study session that'll be occurring next Tuesday, we have a festival lot community input discussion with Liam McCorkle and Patrick Doherty, and then garbage service request for proposals information session with Jordan Otto, not Jacob Roberts, and Megan Darrow. A couple of an executive session and then a closed session to discuss collective bargaining. Moving forward to the 23rd, there will be a P3 committee meeting and a discussion of critical areas updates for GMA compliance with Lance Bailey and multifamily tax exemption, or MFTE as it's commonly called, program, also with Lance Bailey. Moving into the regular business meeting for that evening, there is a public hearing for proposed code amendments for local permitting, hearing and first reading with Kate Turtlow, our standard consent agenda, and then unfinished business and ordinance for the Connor annexation final adoption and first reading with Amy Bright, department reports, and then of course the extended agenda again with, I guess I'll still be here. Okay, that concludes my report.
All right, any questions on the extended agenda? All right, Councilmember Walker, go ahead.
I don't know if this question is relevant or should be on the extended agenda, but are we going to be talking about the police facility study at some point in the near future?
We'll go ahead and we'll check in with Deborah to find out what the timeline is on that. Okay. The extended agenda here is just the next couple meetings, but we'll double check and be back in touch in one of our upcoming meetings.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, any other questions on the extended agenda? All right, city administrator report 13.2. City council photos. So are you all available on October 7th to have your pictures taken?
It's not a normal council meeting night, but it is a night that our photographer is available for new headshots. So if the rest of you are available to meet here around 6 o'clock, exact time TBD, but I'm thinking no earlier than 6. Does this?
Is anybody not available on October 7th at 6-ish? Okay, go back and check your calendars and message Jody and just confirm your availability. All right.
I'd like to be able to get this booked because she's a busy photographer. And then Mayor, did you want to address the LTAC chair opening? I said applications are due by, and then I left it blank because I couldn't remember.
Yeah, do we have a timeline by which we need somebody? I think I'd asked for 2 weeks.
But I think it's next Friday, I want to say.
Okay.
Does that sound about right? The 12th? That next Friday?
So if you're interested in serving on LTAC, and I've received one application so far, or one person of interest so far, please go ahead and get your letter of interest into me by whatever date Jody put in the email that she sent to your email accounts. Okay. We can't do any appointments until October when we have another regular meeting because we have special meetings right now because we're in a space where things could blow up and we might need to go back to the other facility
Yeah.
or something like that, right?
Something along those lines, yeah.
All right. And then, did we need to do the same thing for left board? Or is that something you and I should talk about?
One we are looking into, we are not 100% sure if we are, we'll let you know.
Okay, sounds good. All right, anything else for the city administrator report? Okay, any other questions? Go ahead, Councilmember Fisher.
Are we doing pictures before the election is over? Because there might be a change of personnel at some point, or the headshot thing. Is that something that we're,
The photographer that we are contracting with has
Yeah.
offered to take headshots of any new folks at any time. So
okay,
we'll take this chunk to get the majority of council, to get all of you. And then if we have new people after the election, then we can schedule that separately.
okay. I don't think my headshot's gonna get any better than the one that's on the wall, so I think I'm good.
And the date for LTAC is the 15th, Monday, the 15th.
All right, so just let her know about your availability. It's also an opportunity for us to take a picture as a group, but, again, let her know your availability and we'll figure out where to go from there. Sound good? All right, Councilmember Scarborough.
Forgot to ask a couple of things. One, do our current security badges get us in this building?
Yes.
Okay. Second, could we get an update on code enforcement, stuff down on Railroad Avenue?
Yes, we'll get that in an upcoming meeting. Okay, we'll make a note of that. All right, go ahead, Councilmember Beaumont. Jody, city mailboxes for council?
They will be, they're currently still at 769, but they will be, if you go through the employee entrance, right here by reception and then take an immediate right, there is a bank of mailboxes and yours will be somewhere in that bank.
Any other questions on the city administrator report? All right, thank you. Mayor's report. First, parade was a lot of fun. My wife and I decided that we wanted to hand out flags and candy and pencils and pens to folks, and I did not realize how fast the front of the parade goes. And so I think my car ended up finishing at least a half hour ahead of me. So anyway, I appreciate everybody that was able to attend that, and so thank you. Also, thank you to the chamber for putting that together and all the work that everybody did. The second item, I also met with an organization that is looking into locations for a professional level cricket league facility. And one of the locations that they were looking at is Monroe. Monroe's got a lot of people here playing cricket, people from Redmond, people from Bellevue, a number of local teams. And so just for your awareness, there was an interest in setting up a facility. I'm not certain that we have the amount of land that they're looking for. The areas that we could identify, they're like Fairfield County Park and then a couple private properties that are larger. But we'll just see how things pencil out for this group. They are looking at other areas as well, but just for your awareness, I had a meeting with a group on that. I'm sure I have other things, but unlike Councilmember Fisher, I didn't write them all down. And I think that's the extent of my briefing tonight. Does anybody have any questions for me? All right. We do not have a need for an executive session this evening. And so unless there is objection, we will be adjourned. All right, we're adjourned. Everybody have a great week. See you next week.
It's